We're live. How are we, gentlemen? George,
What's
how are
happening?
you? Leroy.
Hello.
And we have a ringer today who brought in the one, the only, the Joe Albino Thunderbuns Fulton. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Huge.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, but things being lazy. You've had a crazy week, Joe. We'll get into that, I think.
Yeah.
But let's say hello, chat. Past Master Dan. I always like to call Pastor Master. Von Stugel, Robin Shepherd. There can only be one Rob. Yes, you. You are the Rob. Unhinged Entertainment. Rich Ayala, Roach Balls. Beampad. Who else we got? Scrolling down. Crazy Mad. Oliver from 656. Cryptidnals on Indiegogo. Great looking book. I've backed it. We've been robbed and left waiting.
Eric Weathers in the chat too.
Where is
GK1.
he? Yeah, GK1. Hail Men of Pleasure everywhere. Eric Weathers. Get rid of the eccentric icon. Random Task. Finally a good Rob stream. Now just boot Rob. I hear you. I agree. What a crazy week, guys, for CG. One of the big ones, I think. What do you think, George, about Dale Keown joining?
Oh, people are very excited. I know everyone was excited about that stream, and they liked seeing him talk to Ethan. And I'm hearing a lot of excitement about getting Pitt back, whether it's going to be a new issue or a continuation or an omnibus. A lot of folks are very excited. Yeah, and Norrin Rad's here. What's up, Norrin?
What about you, Joe?
Oh, I'm happy about it, first of all. I'm a little tongue-tied just because I was thinking how I basically predicted this a little while ago to myself, but I didn't want to go around saying anything because, who knows? And so when I saw it actually happen, I thought, oh man, this is gonna get a lot of people excited, and then it's gonna get a lot of other people depressed. And that's what it seems to have happened. But I think the guy's an amazing artist. He was really funny when he was live streaming with Ethan, so it was cool to see that. I don't know exactly how comfortable he felt on camera, but he looked like he didn't have a big problem with it. So I think his future, as far as CG is concerned, is very bright.
He was great. He's better on camera than I am. I'm like first time straight away.
And you're surprised.
Well, I mean, not really.
Were you familiar with his work, Rob, prior to
just what I've seen of Pitt? Like, I haven't read Pitt before, but I've seen his work on Pitt, if that makes sense. So
his Incredible Hulk work, Rob, I don't know if you've taken a look at it or not.
I have, yeah.
It's gotten a lot of critical acclaim for the writing by Peter David, but personally, I thought that Keown's artwork was way better than several of the storylines that Peter David wrote while the two of them were working together.
And what about you, Leroy? You've already talked about it a lot this week, but huge week.
Yeah,
CG.
so there's a lot of Image fans in Comicsgate because we're of that age demographic. So, as excited as I am to get like guys like Rocafort and Davis and Nolan in here, that's how excited people like Jason and Joe Sontag are to get Keown in here. So it's really good because that's who those guys grew up. There's a lot of people here of the comics fans that are here. There's a lot of Image guys in here, so it's very exciting. It's one of those Image guys from the 90s. It's a big get for everybody, but especially for those guys. I feel happy for them because now they have like their guy they can geek out on, if you will.
Nornrad says, I love Pitt. That was my first Image book.
There you go.
Very
That's
cool.
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah, and like how many fans is he going to bring into CG just by?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
It is, yeah. What do you think, Leroy?
I have no idea.
Joe?
I think it's going to be quite a few. relative to, I mean, whatever number I think might have possibly come about when Shane joined and when Ken Rocafort joined. I think that the number may actually even be higher with Dale, because I think that a lot of his fans from the Image days especially couldn't give two farts about what people on Twitter have to say about CG one way or the other.
I don't know, it feels to me that like you either love CG or you hate CG. But the major problem is that not enough people know about it.
Well, I don't know if we're going to get that bump from Keown until he puts something pit out anyways. So it's going to be a while.
I'm kind of curious to see what happens when that Salamandroid issue comes out. Because I haven't seen anything from Dale in several years. I could be wrong, but I don't know
we're seeing those images leak out all the time because you're not on social media, George. You're not seeing them. But
so what's going to happen when a book is launched that's not Pit, but it's a Dale Keown illustrated book for Salamandroid? Is there going to be an extra bump there?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it has to be Pit.
I think there will be. I did see the one image on the live stream. I think it was the cover. It's the one with Heather and Sal. That was beautiful.
He can draw, but he can draw women very well too. Yesterday, Fools is in the house. Very good to see you. The toys. Another huge thing that happened this week. Cyberfrog toys. Huge goal, $400,000. Out of the possibility for many men. But Ethan is not every man. What do you guys think about him so far?
The toys themselves?
Yeah, the toys, the campaign, how it's going.
I got 2 of everything. One to keep, one to... I haven't decided if I'm going to sell it or possibly do giveaways for my channel. And then I'm going to be picking up 2 of the blood-spattered Cyberfrog variants. One to keep, and then one, possibly sell or possibly do a giveaway. But yeah, I mean, the campaign, it got off to a phenomenal start. The first 48 hours, it was something like 180,000 or something like that. And so
I think higher than that after the 24 hours. Yeah.
I think it's gonna meet its goal. How far it goes beyond that, I really don't know, because one of the big variables that I just haven't looked into is how many potential toy collectors outside of CG may buy these. I just don't know.
None. Because the way Ethan's running this campaign, unfortunately, is not built for toy collectors, right? He's not making these things scarce. He's buying a bunch of them so he can load them up in his warehouse. So the scarcity is not a factor. So as far as toy collectors coming over here, a lot of toy collectors, they buy 2 copies like you did, Joe, specifically to flip one on eBay. Mm-hmm. But because these things are not going to be rare, other than whatever, he's got a couple of Chase toys in there, but they're just not going to be. They're not. You could always just go buy one from the eBay store. In essence.
So what percentage are there as far as people who are really collecting toys? How many? I don't even know if there is a specific percentage. I'm just curious. Anyone from the chat, if you know, help a brother out. How do the percentages break down between the collectors who buy for themselves primarily versus those who are in it for speculative purposes primarily?
I think a lot of people do it for both, Joe.
You think it's like a 50-50 split?
Right. So if you go to a Walmart or a Target right now, go to the toy section next time, and you'll notice that all those toys are wiped out.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that that's not the children's fault. It's grown ass men out there buying those toys.
Yeah, George. Ramtastus has a thing I want to bring up. I look at the toys and see time that wasn't spent on making Cyberfrog. I mean, that's a valid point.
That's how I am. I just don't. I want the comics, and I don't want the toys, and I'm not backing these toys.
From a publishing perspective, I can look at. I mean, based on what Ethan's done and what he said, I can estimate roughly how much time it might take to put all this toy stuff together. And from that perspective, I could say it's probably not as much time as you might think. But from a backer's perspective, I definitely understand where you're coming from, George. And anybody who says, look, the book's late, why aren't you spending all your time drawing pages? I can understand that.
I disagree a little bit. I look at him making these toys and look at him making Cyberfrog, actually. He is making Cyberfrog.
Yeah, I disagree. I think a second book has been expected for a year and a half now. It was launched of March 2020. There's still no ETA on it. He's launching another project. My wallet's closed until that book is out.
Steve Worcester says 100 times more toy collectors than comic collectors. That might be, but not in Comicsgate, my man.
It might even be more than that. To be honest with that might be understating it.
So I would say when you're talking about toy collectors, Joe, that Ethan is marketing this toy towards his base, not towards a toy audience, a toy collector's market. The way he's running the campaign, the way he's printing the toys out, it seems to me he's marketing directly to his base already. He's not got a concern for if these are going to flip on eBay and people are going to chase them and buy them in bulk and whatever.
Well, he's definitely marketing first and most towards CG, but wasn't he on a live stream recently that's all about toys and collecting and speculating, and doesn't he have more stuff like that lined up?
Last I heard, he was going to put it in this place called Big Bad Toy Store, but that's more just like it's just like a Toys R Us online for grown-ups, for men, guys, and women too, but they just have all these toys that you can go buy. The problem is, like I said, is a lot of these toys on Big Bad Toy Store are set up for speculators, like you were saying, where you can buy them and flip them, right? So
yeah.
So I actually think it's really important that the success of this toy campaign for me and other creators in CG, because it's going to another book is going to bring new people into CG. And then, you may say, but yeah, Rob, they're only toy collectors. They may start as toy collectors, but they may start back in comic books as well.
I think you're all missing the point here. And Random Task mentioned, at this rate this arc is going to take a decade. I'm advising anyone that's making a comic book, especially one that's a ongoing series, to focus on getting those issues out as quickly as possible, because people are going to start losing interest. This is serious something I'm talking about. Like, if you got an issue ending and the next one takes a year and a half to come out, it's easier just to move on to something else than continue to wait. And not talking about making other products or making other toys or making other whatever else. The number one thing you need to focus on is that book.
I don't know why you can't do both, George, but you need to hire.
Because it slows you down.
You cut me off. You need to hire somebody to help you out. You can't. I don't think one person can do it all. I think you need to hire. If you want to run a multifaceted media businesses, then you need to hire somebody. Like,
we're using Ethan as an example, but this could be an example for anybody. A lot of folks can't afford to hire out, and they have all these pipe dreams about statues or video games or cartoons or toys.
Well, when's the last time anybody said go do exactly what Ethan does? Of course we're talking about Ethan.
Everyone sees that and gets excited about it, and I hear Rob saying how important it is to get these toy guys in here. I'm telling you, it's important to get these books out.
Eris Saga, George, what time frame do you suggest?
What time frame do I suggest? What?
To get the books out?
Twice a year.
Twice a year? Mm-hmm. There you go.
That should be your goal.
Yep. Jim says, if he concentrated on books, he could get 2 out a year.
Exactly.
Ethan, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. One is his style is very slow because it's so detailed, right? The second is YouTube. Like, he needs to spend lots of time on YouTube because it makes him money. It promotes Cyberfrog. If he just started doing books to get 2 out a year, I think that would hurt him. And it would hurt all of us. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
I do agree that he'd have to cut back on YouTube quite a bit to get 2 books out a year if he were to maintain the same look that he established with Blood Honey. and we've seen he's continued with Wreck Planet. So,
Look, he's the chief person of getting new people in Comicsgate, Joe. Ethan, by these streams that he does, that everybody wants to complain about, that he's doing these streams, that he's not drawing his book. He's one of the only people that continuously brings in new people into Comicsgate. So you're saying for him to stop streaming, it would be not only bad for Ethan, it'd be bad for Comicsgate as a whole.
I'm not saying he should stop streaming at all. I wasn't done with my statement.
You did. Yeah.
I was just going to say that because it would require him, even if he was going to make the attempt at it, he would have to pull back on streaming so much that I don't think it would work for him. I think he would get so much. I mean, even when he was really bearing down trying to get Blood Honey finished, and at the time when he was still trying to get Wreck Planet out on time, he cut his streaming way back, and he heard from so many people that were unhappy he wasn't streaming enough that he basically said, okay, well, Wreck Planet's going to be late because I've got to do more streaming. So personally, I don't see $2 a year coming out from him. But I also happen to agree that if he were to hire enough people to run the business stuff, that he probably could do one book a year and then some side projects where he's hiring people to draw, color, etc. And he's either writing or he's plotting and then hiring a writer to, write scripts and whatnot.
George, I mean, can I ask George something real quick? George, how much do you think it is? How much do you think it is that it is because of Cyberfrog and Salamandroid? Those are his main characters. Those are intensive. Those are intensive characters to draw. Yes. How much of that has to do with how long these
a major portion, which was why one of my points was going to be, and Jim Cox said this earlier, his other IP is Rainbow the Brute. I think it's a much more simplistic style. If he was to combine those two books, it doesn't have to be 2 Cyberfrog books a year. But if he could get 2 books a year out, and we're just using Ethan as an example, we can use Joe as an example, we can use Rob as an example. All I'm saying is if you're a creator and you have an ongoing story going, it's very important to try to get those issues out and not start looking at other things for your IP that might slow you down. If it's a standalone story, for example, Graham Nolan put out The Chenoo. Now he's putting out another book, same universe, different story. I'm not as really worried about how quick that's going to come out. But when it ends on a cliffhanger, or we're waiting for the next book, or it's part 1 of, say, 32 parts, you better get these things out as soon as humanly possible.
It's interesting you brought Graham up. Because, I flipped through the Chenoo the other day, and that was our first review, remember?
Yes.
The Chenoo, and I gave it an A. Flipping through it now, if I would have regraded the Chenoo, I'd give it an A+ compared to all the other books we flipped through and whatever else. Like, speaking of Graham, and we haven't got to talk, and usually we talk about all this stuff. So there you go.
I like that book.
I was just going to ask Leroy if he would be doing that because he's grading on a curve comparing.
I'm just talking about the art, by the way. I'm not talking about the story.
Yeah. Or I was going to ask, or was it that when you took a second look at it, you think that just on its own, you appreciate it more than the first time you went through?
The curve. Okay. So now George and I have graded quite a few books, and it's just it's better than a lot of what we're producing here.
It's hard to say A for the very first thing you look at. You know what I mean? You're setting a bar pretty high. So I know exactly what he's saying.
Right.
Mr. Von Zugel says, I'd like more EVS silent draw streams. We hear that a lot. You're a fan, Leroy, of the draw streams.
I am.
Yeah, so am I. Like, I think they're awesome. I would like to see more of them too. I don't want to touch on Ethan too much longer, but what can he really hire out? No one can do YouTube like he can do, and no one can draw Cyberfrog like he does. So
all the back end stuff. Joe could speak to that better than the rest of us. Joe's a project manager by trade.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I mentioned briefly a few minutes ago was if people really want him to do more than 1 book a year, then one option would be if you have, let's say, the main Cyberfrog book. So right now he's working on Wreck Planet, and then the next one is going to be Red Extermination. Is that right? So let's just say hypothetically that in 2022 he continued the same workload for Red Extermination, but let's say something along the lines of what he did with E.J. Morgis, where he plots a story, maybe he writes it, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he plots a story that's set back in the 90s before the Vespis invasion that he plots, and then he hires somebody like Rob to write it, and then someone like EJ to draw it. He hires the colorist, he hires out the lettering, puts it all together, but his day-to-day time commitment to that is relatively tiny compared to something like Wreck Planet.
But what about all the business aspects of how, he hires a lot of people out for art and letters and everything already. I'm more asking, Joe, because you're a business guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can hire like a business manager to run the warehouse, couldn't he do that?
Yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, you definitely can hire other people to take care of all of the admin stuff. But one of the things that I'm just speculating might be difficult for him is Cyberfrog is such a personal thing. This whole business is built around Cyberfrog. So it seems to me like he would want to vet people pretty carefully before allowing them to do anything that touches his business, which is built on Cyberfrog. It might take a while.
One thing that has been talked about lately is like the subs, people's subs, how many subs they've got, and the importance of having a huge amount of people. I think Leroy and I are on the same page. I'm sure Joe is too, but the quality of those subs is far more important than the number that you have. Like the people watching us now are all awesome people. And I know a majority of them would have backed my book. Numbers don't mean everything. I've got a really good example. I'm going to bring it up in a second, but Leroy's got something to say about it, I think.
No, I don't.
You unmuted yourself. I was waiting for you to drop some knowledge, Leroy.
Nope.
But yeah, chat, let us know if you have any thought about what we were just discussing about Ethan and hiring out. Eric says he hires out a lot, and he would know. So
Eric Weathers?
Yeah. Eric Weathers in chat. Jim Cox says Leroy's subs are growing, 381 now. Leroy is the only person I know who actively wants to get less subscribers because he wants to keep it all about the fans.
How many do you have now, Rob? Because your channel's been growing. By the way, chat, please hit like and help Rob grow his channel.
We just hit 451, I think. So that was
congratulations.
Really cool. Yeah.
What are you going to do for the celebration when you get to 500?
I don't know, George. I think you should tell me what I should do.
You should shave the mohawk.
No. You should wear your helmet on stream.
Yes.
What helmet?
That's it. I'll wear my helmet on stream for what, a week?
Yeah, a week.
What helmet?
The helmet his wife usually makes him wear when he goes outside.
Yeah.
His safety helmet.
That's it.
So you don't really have one. He's just playing?
No, he has one.
Oh, I have one. I have a helmet. It's very important. Jim wants me to shave the mohawk.
That's what I think you should do too.
No liking until the 19th.
What's on the 19th?
Rob Teenth.
Rob Teenth? You don't know what Rob Teenth is yet, George? We're having a holiday on the 19th of July. It's the first CG holiday where we do nothing but praise Rob and say all the good things about him.
I heard you talk about it once. I didn't know it was official. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard. Cool. It's going to be the hardest day of my life.
Is there going to be a show?
Yeah, it's like a whole day.
Yeah, I'm going to do a show. Bancroft's going to do a show. But
yeah,
Mrs. Replicator said she promised she would come on stream for the Rob Teenth.
Oh, wow. Nice.
She'll be on. She doesn't know what this whole thing... Oh, she knows what I do, but she doesn't know how it all works, really. Can one of the mods chuck a link to Eric's YouTube in the chat? That would be awesome, please.
Tim says, I think I have something to do that day.
I'm sure a lot of people have something to do that day. Snuggy says, we're not going to make it through 5 minutes of Rob Teenth.
Oh,
we have to try.
Rob's mohawk is a mask for his receding hairline. I see you right through you, Arnold. Of course it is. Look at that thing. It's going all the way back there.
You've got the biggest Phil Collins. You got a bigger Phil Collins hairline than Phil Collins.
I know. He ain't got nothing on me. Crackhead stuck the link in. In the meantime, I wish Rob would shut up. Yeah, I get that a lot. I praise Rob on Twitter every day. Very good. Let's have a look. Crackhead says he got a notification. George was saying he didn't get one the other day.
No, not for the overnight one with Bancroft.
So
Beanpad said he has to wash his hair on Raw Teens. He won't be here.
And I want to talk about this quickly, and then I want to talk to Joe about, because he's had a massive week, and I want to talk to Joe about that. Getting work done, Joe. The real stuff.
Yes, sir.
So this is Tyler Kirkman's campaign, and Kirkham, and he's a Marvel DC guy,
mostly DC.
He's somewhat known, and it's not going amazingly well. Like, he's only just broken 10,000, but this is the point I want to make. Right, this is Boss Logic. He has 450,000 followers on Twitter alone, right? And they've sold one of his books. So that, to me, that just proves that it's not the quantity of the subs that you've got, but the actual quality.
I take a total different take from this.
Do you? Hit me.
He's not Comicsgate.
But Comicsgate are quality subs.
This guy Kirkham is not Comicsgate. If this was a Comicsgate book, he'd be in the 40,000s by now. If he came in here, did all the things, Bancroft put a hell of a tweet out today outlining how you sell a book. You get in the chats, you talk. If he did all that, this book would be way higher than it is. But he's not Comicsgate. That's what I take. I don't take. Look, we could look at social media and say, like, huge. We could tell you by Roquefort that social media doesn't mean anything. But being a CG does mean something. That's what I take from it. Not, oh, this guy has so many Twitter followers or Instagram followers or whatever.
I mean, we're kind of making a similar point, just a bit differently. Like, I'm saying that the people that we have in here, which are Comicsgate people, right, back books. This guy has 500,000 followers who don't back books. So it's about the quality of the people that you have rather than the number.
I did back this book, by the way. So
Comicsgate.
Well, I got back from time to time. Like, I met this guy's he's a good guy, So, and I like his work. So there you go.
Yeah. Zaid ripped into him. Where did he go? Shane O'Sullivan says, "Oh, I saw the Final Bus campaign on Instagram before YouTube and Twitter. It's advertised a lot on Insta." Manifesto says, "It's backed. I borrow ideas. It's not about the quantity on Rob's brain cells, but the quality, which is both poor on both." Can't even read it. I mean, it proves your point there. I borrow ideas. I wanted to find Zaid's one. Boss Logic is trash, overblown Photoshop rube.
Wow.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Joe? Like,
I think it's kind of what you and Leroy both said. I'm basically in agreement. I think if he had spent a lot of time trying to cultivate an audience, then the campaign would be doing better. Particularly if it was a CG audience, then I think this thing would just blow the barn doors off of whatever expectations Tyler might have had. The conversion rate on when it comes to social media followers to sales outside of CG is very, very low, and there's a lot of numbers that are publicly available that bear that out. I will say that working with Eric Canetti, being the editor for Arc Athena, one of the things that he is adamant about is he's not assuming that any of his social media followers are going to be buying Arc Athena. He's determined to go out and earn every single sale by actively trying to find readers and, convince them to give Arc Athena a shot.
And like, you've got Brett Booth, massive artist. You've got Ryan Otley, massive artist. Again, like,
some of those guys aren't very friendly to CG, where Kirkham is very neutral. So first of all, this book was put on Indiegogo, right, Joe? So that already sends you a signal, right? And the way, like, if you scroll up, you could see what his expectations are. I think he's been watching Indiegogo campaigns. Look at that first perk.
Oh yeah,
he's got 1,000.
Yeah.
So he's watching Ethan campaigns, Sean campaigns, John campaigns. I don't know how in tune he is with the streams and what goes on here, but he's been watching Indiegogo. He thinks if you're just a pro, you can come in here and clean up. Is what I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But 1,000 is a little unrealistic.
Some of those names that you saw were on a prior Indiegogo campaign, Death Shroud, and that didn't have very much success either. And they were big names. I know Ryan Otley was on it. I'm not sure about the other guy, but the names don't mean much.
I think Brett Booth was on that one, George. I think Brett Booth did a variant cover for Death Shroud.
I thought so too, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it didn't move very well either.
Question for you guys. Would he have done better even if he didn't come and say he was CG? Everything the same. If he would have got a Booth cover or Logic or whatever, or if he got a Rocafort cover for this Indiegogo campaign, what would have done better?
Rocafort.
By far. I mean, like, this to me just proves that, like, Comicsgate's a place to be, right? The Comicsgate people back books. If this was Comicsgate, it would get backed a lot more. It's just how it is.
That's really funny today, and you're missing them all, Rob. Look what Eric says.
Which one? Where?
Eric McIntyre. Not interested in Final Boss. If a creator does not prostrate themselves at my feet, I will not buy their book.
What about says this campaign looks awesome. The art is cool, but the idea is the Kirkham book should be seen as a win for CG. Yeah, maybe it should, because if he's not anti-CG, then that's
here's the thing. Right, here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen. As a backer, you take a risk, right, when you back somebody like Kirkham, because what could happen very well is the SJWs are going to descend upon him. That's going to happen. If you look in his comments right now, like if you go to the discussion, somebody already said, I came and backed this book because it was mentioned on EVS. Somebody's going to get a hold of this. The pressure is going to come on him. And I hope that he doesn't just sit there and shit talk. So then I look like dumb, because I was like, hey, this is a good guy. I like him, even though he's got Otley and Booth on there. But they're coming, because you know what I mean? Like, Ethan's been promoting it, and it's just a matter of time. So you hope he stands his ground.
Not sure I'd back the book with a Rocafort cover. Need to know more about the story than a game comic mashup. There isn't a lot of art on the page. That's something I noticed when I was looking through. Like, there's not really many internal pages.
Yeah, there's no sequential pages. There's one right there.
Yeah.
I'm just familiar with his work. Being a DC fan, I've seen a lot of his stuff. So
he needs to shut off non-backer comments, says Zaid.
I didn't realize you could do that.
I'd also like to mention that it's difficult to back anything right now because the figures are soaking the budget. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too.
What does that mean? I don't understand.
Means
the figures are expensive, so they're taking up his budget.
The Cyberfrog action
because you're
figures.
buying the toys, you can't buy any books. I got you.
Right.
Ram Task, no interest in backing former pros on their first campaigns. They need to prove themselves. Those are the ones most likely to quit if they don't get the numbers they wanted. That's interesting. Jasper says, lots of art in the trailer, Rob. That's interesting, because I very rarely actually play the trailer. Do you play the trailer, George?
I never look at the trailer. No
Joe?
offense.
Occasionally.
Leroy?
No. Although this
Yeah.
one does tell you, to Jim's point, and I don't watch trailers, so it's a bit for what I'm about to say. But this trailer, because Ethan did play it, it tells you exactly what the book is about.
Yeah, that's interesting. George, I found out after I backed Death Shroud, I real backed it for the Kane and White cover.
Yeah,
was displeased when I found out he's outspoken against CG.
Yeah, he says the creator of Death Shroud was anti-CG.
I only watch trailers on streams. I'm with you, Hicks Villain. That's pretty much when I watch them too. And it's kind of like that as well. Like if there's a new campaign, I'm not going to watch your trailer because it's going to get played sometime where I'm going to see it anyway.
I feel bad saying that because I know you worry about it and you spend time on it. I know you spend money on it, but I'd never, ever, ever look at it.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, I would say, George, is that the trailers miss their mark a lot of the time. So we're kind of just like, eh. If they were all good, you know what I mean? They were all did their job. Maybe we'd watch them more often, I guess. What do you think?
No. It told me more about like the book, the story, as opposed to just like, I don't even know what it's doing.
I really believe like they all need to be under a minute now.
Oh yeah.
Like 30 seconds of some cool art and some voiceover, and then maybe 30 seconds of you telling me why I want to back it, and then that's it.
Well, it's ironically the best trailer I think in CG is a Starlight Cats trailer, and it doesn't do any of that.
I mean, I like Malin's trailer for Graveyard Shift 3. I thought that was good. That's one of the ones I remember. I watch trailers, but the art is what sells me on the book. Eric doesn't like trailers. Most CG trailers are trash.
Trailer trash. Get it? Get it, George?
I get that one.
That's good. Starblaze trailer is probably the best one. Rob's killing me with the under the minute thing. We're doing 2 animated trailers now to split it.
I don't even think like animation is important. I think you have to. I don't know what's good. We try to do streams where we talk about how to do a trailer, and I don't know.
I know, Rob, that you like Adam Lawson's trailers.
Yeah. I mean, they're amazing because they're like fully animated. I mean, nothing's going to sell you better than that. Just like Kyle's was. I think they're probably 2 of the best trailers. But you could easily do something more similar to Malin's, where the thing that really gets me is when you watch these trailers and there's no excitement or passion in the trailer. Like there's no enthusiasm, and you're just sitting there going, "Well, I don't care. Give me something." Cash grab trailer, another fun trailer. Starblaze was the best. Starblaze was a sweet trailer. Yeah. Trailers are good to the extent that if you like to watch them, they are there to view. I think you need to have a trailer. Like, I don't think you can get away with not having a trailer, right? If you weren't streaming, yeah, sure, maybe. But, people get you on their shows. They play the trailer. If your trailer's shit, you're not going to get sales. Joe, what do you think?
So many different people have a different opinion as to what makes a good trailer. I would say that if you're going to do one, make sure it tells people what the story's about, why they should care about the characters, and then more or less give them a sense of what to expect on the interior pages.
I just want to point out something in chat. Joe Sontok says, my trailer for Reaper Destroyer will be me singing a hairband style ballad to Rob. If he does that, I will back him day one guaranteed. I'm saying it right here, right now. If he puts that as his trailer, I'm backing day one.
There you go.
He'll do it. He'll do it.
Okay, and so will I.
Jim Cox, I'll say this, that the trailer thumbnail is good, not just all logo. It has artwork and the logo / brand. Yep, good. Knife Hand Blind Spot is the best trailer. I haven't seen it. Of the last 10 campaigns I've backed, I've never watched one trailer. Yeah,
I kind of forgot about them, to be honest with you.
You know what I do like about trailers, George, is during streams where, when the stream is not just a shill stream, you know what I mean, and it's like a commercial break for 20 minutes. I think like that's when the trailer is most effective. Like, hey, we're shooting the shit, having a good time. All right, watch these trailers real quick, and then we'll get back to it. I think that's like the best use of a trailer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I feel like people, like, when they're pitching their book, go into way too much detail. Like, I'd rather just have like a simple, and
then in my Barnaby.
Yeah, simple hook line. It's cats in space with blah blah blah, and that's it. Like, I don't want to hear about this cat does this because of this reason and has this history and this happened to it and then that happened and then you go on to the next one. It's just too much. What do you think, George?
I don't really care about any of the trailers.
Right, Joe. You've had a massive week. You've been sitting on some news. You've been putting in some work. Talk to us about that. I know I mentioned that Art should hire you as an editor a couple of months back to you, and you must have been sitting there going, I can't say a thing.
Yeah, he actually hired me as a co-writer for Black and White Volume 2, Man vs. Machine. And this happened in September of 2020. And both of us had to take a hiatus from the project to handle some personal business. So minus that time, I would say we've been working on it about 6 months, 7 months, something like that. And it's been phenomenal.
George, can you read that one quickly?
George is still getting used to moving pictures.
So you've got Black and White, Joe. You've got Outliers. You've got Arc Athena, and you have something else, some other book that's not very good. What is that one?
The Luchant.
Oh, the Luchant. Yes. So you're putting in some work, Joe. You're not slacking right now.
Nope.
Tell us about how are you balancing all that? What's your day look like without going into too much detail?
Well, when schedules first were laid out to me, it looked like everything was going to be set out in such a way that I wouldn't be too overwhelmed at any particular time. But then some of those schedules changed, and up until about a week and a half ago, I spent a month or more working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, because all 4 projects were going at the same time. And then I wrapped up my responsibilities on the Lucent first. I'm almost completely done with my responsibilities for Arc Athena. I won't have to do anything again on that until the lettering is done. And then we'll take another editing pass. Black and White Volume 2, I'm actively working on. And Outliers, I actively, up until about a week ago, I was just working furiously on it. But now I get a little bit of a break on that, where I just have to do admin work, more or less. But most of the creative work from my part is done.
You know what I like about your story, Joe?
What?
The fact that you offered your services for free initially to Eric Weathers to get your foot in the door.
Yep.
Do you just want to talk about that for a minute? Because
sure,
that's a great way to get in.
Yeah. So I've been part of CG since January 2018, and it was toward the end of that year that things in my personal life were working out to where I saw that I'd eventually be able to get into comics and work in them. In addition to my day job as an at-home dad. So I just started advertising that I would do, I was an editor and would do free proofreading and editorial consulting for independent creators. And I couldn't get anybody to take me up on it. And it wasn't until around, I think, June-ish of 2019 where I had been a regular in Eric Weathers' morning show, a regular in the chat for a while, and he was talking about Flying Fortress Remastered and what he was working on with it. And basically, I just pitched him my services as a freelance editor and said I would work for free, and he could decide if that was worth it or not. Was my work, did it bring enough value to justify having me there and paying me nothing? And fortunately, things went well. Eric was great to work with. By the end of it, I wanted to try to hire him to do some promotional artwork and some concept pieces for the Outliers. And he graciously said, "You know what, man, you brought so much value to Flying Fortress. We'll work something out. I'll do some art for you, and I won't charge you anything for it." So in the end, I basically earned a salary, and we just, did a barter where I did editing work for him, and then he's going to do some artwork for me. So it worked out. It worked out really well.
That is so cool. And it's also pretty much how Eric got started too. Like, I remember John was looking for a letterer. I think he was after a Spawn type style.
Yeah.
And Eric lettered. He was out I think with his family at the time, and he rushed home. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. You're in chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. He rushed home, put the songs to, was it AC/DC? Metallica. On the letters, and that's how he got his start. And look at him now. He is the letterer.
He's all right.
No, I mean, Eric was one of the first people in CG that I could remember who it was obvious that taking initiative, knowing what he wanted, and then taking the initiative to try and go get it, and then proving his merit. And then the work spoke for itself. He's easy to get along with. He's easy to work with. And if you're good at what you do and you're easy to get along with, you can get work. And if you also can meet a deadline, then it's not long where you're going to be in high demand. So I thought Eric was a good example of that. He was one of the people that I had been kind of scoping out as possible people that I might want to hire at some point when I got my publishing company underway. And so I saw an opportunity and I took it.
That's great. What do you think about that, George?
It reminds me of a story. There was a creator I really liked. I really admired his work. I thought the only really problem with his book was there were some copy editing mistakes in the book, and he was getting ready to go to print, and I offered him my services for free. I said, look, I will review the book for free. I want no credit. I want no money. I just want to help you out. I said, because the last time in your last book, your first mistake was on the credits page on the inside cover. I said, I'll do this for you for free. And he turned me down. The next issue came out, and there was a copy edit mistake on the inside cover on the credits page. So it's like, you want to help, you offer for free, and I don't care that they turn me down. I just want to see no mistakes in the book. So hearing Joe's story reminds me of that story. So I'm glad to see folks like Michael and Eric willing to reach out and say, you know what, I don't mind if someone looks at this and gives me feedback, because I want to be the book as good as can possibly be.
Yeah. And I had actually done some editorial consulting before Eric brought me on for Flying Fortress. At the end of 2018, somebody who's got no involvement with CG, they reached out to me through Twitter because they saw that I had been, offering some free editorial consulting. And so when I looked at the work, it had already been sent off to the printer, but he said that he was going to use the feedback I gave him on his next project, which he did, and he was happy. So that was, and that didn't take very much time. Flying Fortress was a long project. That did take a lot of time, but it was completely worth it. I mean,
I love that book.
The experience of working with Eric, and then being able to, from that point forward, when people would ask, well, what have you done? I could say that I had worked on that book with Eric, and everybody knows Eric. So from that standpoint, it was great to be able to say, if you want to know what it's like to work with me, feel free to talk to Eric. He mentioned that he'd be happy to give me a reference, and you can ask him any question you want. I'm an open book.
Why did they turn you down?
They just told me they had a bad experience with another editor, and I said, and I wasn't even looking to be an editor. I was looking to help out. But I know a lot of folks have PTSD from working with editors, and I get it, but I'm just a guy that was looking to help. It would be like me contacting you and offering the same thing, Rob. Now, I know you have an editor. I know you hire someone. It's, printed in your books, and I appreciate it. It was just something, like I said, I was just trying to help.
I think a lot of that, George, is when people don't understand the differences between a staff editor at a corporate publisher, who is essentially a glorified scheduler that is almost certainly overworked and underpaid, and a freelance editor who is there to actually help the creator make the best version of their own story. And so whether they're doing copy editing or story editing or both, the freelance editor is all about trying to help that creator, and the creator is going to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the freelance editor's suggested adjustments or enhancements or whatever they're going to do for the project.
I just want to tackle this really quickly. Just so everyone is aware, I found this pen that when you sign with it, it looks like you've written with like liquid metal, and I'm like, what do you think about this for signing? Bancroft ran out and grabbed one.
He said he found it.
That idea is mine. You're not stealing it. It's my idea. So if you've seen
that's
Bancroft's
like the
book,
only
it's my
time you've
idea.
ever had an idea, Rob. It's only we'll credit you on Rob Teens for it.
Rob Teens. Bancroft. People are scared to have people look for mistakes for the same reason people are scared to go to the doctor in case something bad is found. I think that's a very valid point, Leroy.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Just a copy editor would be very helpful to many CG books.
That's all I was saying. Copy editor, all they do is say, hey, look, grammatically this is wrong, this is spelled incorrectly. I'm not even looking to change any sort of panels or even word balloon placement. It was just like, let me just see if anything is spelled wrong.
It's pretty nice that Bancroft sent Rob one of those chrome pins. Yeah. Bancroft is such a good dude.
He's clever too.
Yeah.
Bancroft, yeah. Well, one of us has to be. Rob acting like he invented the pen. Comicsgate, where they steal pen ideas. Yeah, but it's going to look so good, George.
So are you signing all the books now?
I'm signing all the ones I said I would sign.
I want to call you out a little bit, Rob. So Rob, before the stream started today, he's like, it's just going to be your show from yesterday. Like, that's what he said. And now he's bitching about somebody stealing his ideas. It's just going to be your show from yesterday.
When are we doing the sandwich part?
Bancroft says it's all about who's first to market. Nah. Better make sure that pen doesn't smear. Yeah, you have to give it ample drying time.
Are you left-handed?
No.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, being left-handed sucks.
Yes.
Are you left-handed, Leroy?
Both. But I write with my left.
That explains a lot. Mm-hmm. Wait till the 19th to claim credit for the pen, Rob. We will all be by your side then. 364 days of the year are not Rob's team. It's funny when you put it like that. Like, one day is Rob Teeth, all the rest are not.
Yeah,
I think those 364 are Jim's favorite days of the year.
Yes,
I think they're everyone's favorite days of the year. It's not just narrowed it down to Jim. But yeah, quickly, just back to Joe. You must be super excited to work on all the projects. Lucian's done.
Yep.
You're working on Black and White. You're working on Arc Athena, but you're probably most excited to actually get to your own book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they all have been great to work on, and I've really enjoyed working with each of the creators, but working on my own is definitely the most fun because it's my story and my characters, and in that role, I don't have to try to steer anything towards somebody else's vision. It's my vision, and so yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
So can we expect a Eric Weathers variant cover for the Outliers?
It's
Damn, George.
Eric, I'll answer the question. I don't mind. Like I said, I'm an open book. It really is going to depend on Eric's schedule. I'm waiting purposely until after he's done drawing Battle Brick Road, and I'll probably wait until it's off to the printer, and then I'll check in with him and just see what his schedule's like, and then we'll work something out.
He's in chat. We can ask him right now. Eric, what's your schedule like?
Damn,
Well, right
George
now
is-
he's swamped.
George has no chill. I love it.
George.
Jasper Plan 9. Rob's going to go on Samedi's show this week and chill the pen, then ask, did you see me on Samedi's show this week? Exactly what I'm going to do now. Thank you, Jasper. Great idea. Clutch Boogie. I wonder how...
Wait till you super chat Ethan about it tonight on the stream. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
See,
I wonder how many other ideas Bancroft stole from Rob. All right, I've just got someone at the door, guys, so just talk amongst yourselves for a sec.
Who do you think's at Rob's door?
DiGiorno?
UPS?
I think it's the pen delivery person.
It could be the UPS guy bringing a DiGiorno pizza and asking Rob to sign with one of those chrome pens.
I hope he put his helmet on.
So when are you thinking for the pre-sign up for Outliers?
Good question. So I've got a mail list that I've been having people sign up for a few months now, and really for me, it's going to be a question of when do I think I can get 500 signups? Maybe a little bit more. Just depends on how quickly or slowly they come in. Because I'm going to need around 500 backers on the campaign itself to recover all of my upfront production costs and my startup costs for the publishing company, and then also have some to put towards getting production started on book 2. So I would personally love to launch sometime around September, October, but if it doesn't look like we're going to have enough potential backers by then, I'll probably delay it until, I don't know, maybe February, March of next year.
Now, I got a question for you because Only Death Can Save Us is supposed to be launching in September as well. Are you concerned about that at all with 2 Russ campaigns at the same time?
No, because his work is going to be done long before he launches for Only Death Can Save Us 2. And I actually think that it could be more beneficial for both of us, because there's a lot of people who do like what they've seen from the Outliers, and they backed and enjoyed Only Death Can Save Us. But I think there's still some people who, they like the stuff that I've done. They like the stuff that Russ has done, but there's no...
Wait.
They haven't found the other project yet.
George, is your point that they're launching against each other is what you're saying, though?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, you don't want... He's saying you don't want to be launching the same time as Russ is launching, Joe. That's his question.
Well,
I'm going to say, like, his 60 days and your 60 days, they might cross. Are you concerned about that at all?
It's worse than that, George, because Arc Athena would be crowdfunding at the same time as well.
Oh, wow.
So if it's the sort of thing where there's a, like, let's just say the marketplace is very crowded in September, October, then not just because Only Death is funding and Arc Athena is funding, but just because if the field is that crowded, then I would probably just push it out until February, March, April of 2022, when it seems like there's less to choose from and people would have more money available theoretically.
When is Art planning to launch? Does he know?
He most recently said on his morning show this last week that don't be surprised if it's the end of July or beginning of August.
So, yeah, in that case, you're going to have Starlight, you're going to have Rex, Thunder, or Godlike, Arc Athena, Only Death Can Save Us. That's all going to be going on at once.
When's Godlike launching?
Probably after August 1st.
I think John, this last week, I think he said roughly 3 weeks.
So
It
there
It was funny, George. John was on whose stream was he on? Leroy's.
That was Frega.
He was on Fragger's stream, and someone asked him when he was launching, and he said August 1st. And then he said, "Oh, I thought I already answered that." And then everyone just started super chatting him. So when's Godlike launching? Why are you gatekeeping us from telling us? It was very funny. There's some one thing I noticed. I left and the people watching went up to like 46. I came back and it went down to 40. So thanks, guys. I understand.
I'm sure it was purely coincidence.
Purely. Let's have a look at the chat. Clutch Boogie. Rob, with the puzzles, your idea. Clearly. Bancroft's at his door. Battle Brick Road line art is in September.
Oh,
Nice.
Do they have Amazon Australia? We do. Outliers mailing list. Make sure you sign up. That's Joe's campaign there.
Oh, thank you, Crackhead.
Australian Thought Police are at the door. Oh, mate, it's not far off. Pencroft. Theftcroft. Some fountain pens are the best. Canetti is in chat. Very good. Hit the like button. Yeah, we got 40 people watching, guys. So make sure you subscribe. It would mean the world to me.
he's going to shave his head. If you do, you get to 500.
Yes.
I want to actually talk about my channel for a minute, Rob.
Oh.
Which I never do. I'm looking for a couple of creators to come on with me, the crew. I think I'm going to get George in there. I'm going to reach out to Jim. I want creators that have. We did a stream with Joe Fulton it was a while back, but where Joe came on and asked us questions. You basically would have a 2-hour free focus market research group. We'll answer all your questions. We'll get the chat involved. So I'm looking for a couple creators that we don't normally have on the show or my channel. So I open my DMs. If you guys are looking for creators in the chat, if you guys are looking for some good feedback, we're pretty good. I don't feel like we're constructive, Joe.
Yeah, for sure.
Hit me up in DMs, hit Amanda B up in DMs or whatever, and we'll do that show this week. So I'm looking for creators.
The feedback I got off that show was priceless. I highly recommend it.
Rob's idea of avant-garde is putting medieval wax seals on a futuristic sci-fi book. You got me. I've got no response to that. Yeah, and like just speaking on Leroy's point about getting creators on to get feedback. If you're a creator, you should go on that. These are actual backers. Like these are not. It's not just Leroy and George. There are other people. These are people that back books. These are CG fans.
So Unhinged Entertainment says Leroy never has me on a show, gatekept, which is funny because I was on a show with Leroy and Unhinged Entertainment a few months back, but that's fine.
Damn, George. George, did you see Shelby did an art piece of the people we are giving away with our sign up?
I did. Beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're a creator, you got to put your ego aside, man. You've got to get in there and hear from these people. I would love to. They don't want me on. They don't want Rob on.
Rob, you're on all the time.
Exactly. That's why they don't want me. But yeah, seriously, get the feedback. Get the honest feedback. Hit Leroy up on Twitter. We're going to wrap it up here because George will get angry at me if I keep going. So, Joe, final words?
Final words. Thanks for having me on the show. If people want to check out my YouTube channel, it's called Fultonland, FULTONLAND. And we do a weekly show, me and Russ Leach, the illustrator for the Outliers. And if people want to sign up to the mailing list, I think Crackhead put the link in there in the chat. And you can also find it in the About tab on the Fulton Land channel. So thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Welcome, George.
Yeah, make sure you sub to Rob's channel because he's going to shave his head at 500 subs.
No.
Oh, thank you.
Helmet. I'll wear a helmet for a week on the stream.
Oh.
George, I've said this before. This is the only thing I've got going for me. I need to keep it at all costs. Leroy, final words.
Go USA.
Go USA. Oh, okay.
Gold Cup.
Cool. Yeah, and everyone, just please hit the subscribe and go back something if you haven't. Go back something. Go sign up to Joe's mailing list for Outliers. Go sign up to Eric Canetti's list for Arc Athena.
I signed up for both of them.
Go back to Lucent. The poor bugger had 1,000 comics ruined this week because George, I could keep going. You're going to have to stop me. How do they not know how to package comic books? Like, you've got one job. You print and you ship. How can you suck at the second part of that? So, man, I could go on another 10 minutes, but George would get angry. So, all right. That's it, guys. Thanks so much for everyone for popping in. We had like 40, 45 people here, which is great. And yeah, go sign up to Leroy's thing. Get the feedback because we all need it. We need to get better. Everyone needs to get better, me included. All right, guys. Thank you. See you later.